A little change of pace here for you guys. Our coverage of On the Water Anarchy, 2009 Moth Worlds. We're standing here at the reason for this town's name, Cascade Locks, Oregon. What you're looking at, you're looking north at the Bridge of the Gods. I'll tell you about that in a minute. This is a narrow strip of land with the river on the other side. And this channel, cut into the Oregon side of the river, is the original Cascade Locks. The Cascade Rapids, which is where we're sailing now, out here, was the most impenetrable part of the Columbia River in the settler days and going back to the Chinook days. It was pretty much non-stop maelstrom of water over huge boulders, not tamed until the Dalles Dam was constructed in the early to mid 1900s. This is the lock that was built in 1878 to 1896. It took some 8 years and $1.2 million to build this lock. That was for the ferry boats and the freight liners, all the steamships to be able to passage Cascade Rapids without dying. So that's Cascade Locks. And obviously everything changed when the dams went in. But the interesting part about this part of the Columbia and the Bridge of the Gods itself is an Indian legend that tells of, well, let's put it this way. There was a huge landslide. All this land we're looking at was a huge landslide over 700 years ago that happened and really covered most of the Columbia here. And the Indian legend tells of a tunnel that was opened up by the Great Spirit when Coyote asked him for help getting the salmon to his family. And the Indian stories tell of being able to walk across the Columbia in bare feet from one coast to the other on top of the landslide while being able to canoe underneath in a tunnel. And it goes that two princes of the tribe fought and battled and threw hot stones at each other. That the Great Spirit turned them into mountains. And then they continue to fight, throwing white hot ashes at each other and shaking the earth. Finally, so many stones landed here from them fighting at each other that the great arch over the river broke and fell into the river. And I'm reading this shit to you because it's not like I'm going to study it. But you can see images, I think, of the rapids on Wikipedia. It's pretty cool history. You know, the interesting things that make a place interesting. This is the new Bridge of the Gods, built in 1920 or so by a private company. They charged 50 cents a car at that time, and they charge about $1 a car now. So a pretty good example of inflation being held in check. Now there's a boat ramp, and obviously this is a huge recreation area, both sides of the river for windsurfers, sailors, paddlers, what have you. And it really is some hell of a place. But the wind is just awesome. So, Cascade Locks, Oregon, a hitchhiker's guide.